All right, welcome to the Sports Mashup number 76, September 7th, 2022. And the NFL season is finally upon us, which means that we have football every week for a long time, which I think is good
Before we
news.
get into this, do you have something to tell me?
Happy birthday. Yes, I forgot to do that. I didn't send you a text. It was I think it was 21 hours into the day yesterday, so that was a bit of a close call, but I did get around to it. I don't like doing that on Facebook, so I decided to just do straight via text message. But anyway, happy birthday, of course.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the NBA, where fairly big news drops, and of course, it drops right after we record a podcast.
Well, it was at least it was the next day,
Yeah, next day. That's
but we
true.
did talk about like how we thought Donovan Mitchell like trade talks were just quieted down with the Knicks, but then we're done. We didn't know any other team was in play, and then
Thought that the Knicks could be circled back to.
and then last Thursday, bam, Donovan Mitchell to the Cavs.
Yeah, he goes to the Cavs. That's all they get. They send to the Jazz Lauri Markkanen, who just hasn't found his way. Rookie wing Ochai Agbaji from Kansas. Colin Sexton, who had kind of fallen out of favor after being pretty good for Cleveland early in his career. 3 unprotected first-round picks from 25, 27, and 29. 2 pick swaps for 26 and 28. And then Sexton also agreed to a 4-year, $72 million sign-and-trade deal with the Jazz. So a great haul for the Jazz. They got a ton back for Mitchell and Gobert. They're going to have a lot of picks, pretty big rebuild coming. But I think getting Sexton to get that deal done and then bringing in Markkanen, who probably needs another change of scenery because it just has not worked out with him. And then Agbaji's got potential. So I like the deal for both sides.
And
I think this makes
Marketing goes back home more closer to where he went to school and everything.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I think this trade is good for Cleveland as well because you're pairing now Mitchell and Garland in the backcourt.
Yeah, the Cavs now have Mitchell, Garland, Jarrett Allen, and Rookie of the Year runner-up Evan Mobley.
Yeah, I would say the Cavs have one of the better young cores in the league because their team is built around very young players. Garland is young. Mobley's very young, like you said, Rookie of the Year runner-up. Mitchell and Allen are still relatively young. It's a good roster, and they overachieved last season, but they're going to have a lot more expectation this season. You give up a lot, but you get a star back. So if this is what the deal is for Donovan Mitchell, who's a very good player, the Kevin Durant deal would have been like astronomical, especially with the Gobert deal just driving the price up. And I mean, the pick swaps are obviously a big deal here because that's something that teams can do because you're not allowed to give up first-round picks in multiple years straight, so that's why they couldn't have given one up in 26 or 28. You do the pick swap to where the Jazz get the better pick each year.
And now the Jazz have 13 unprotected or lightly protected first-round picks through 2029.
Yeah, so Danny Ainge goes in there pretty much running the show now. They get a new head coach, and they trade their 2 best players. They get a ton back, and now they're going to have to see if they can draft well.
Yeah, I mean, getting Agbaji in that trade was big because they also drafted the center from Virginia, or not? Yeah. I think from Virginia, Kessler.
From Auburn.
Yes, Auburn. My bad.
Auburn, yeah,
Kessler.
Yeah. So
they filled in our Gobert with him, and then Agbaji is basically going to be their 4.
They still could make moves. I think Jordan Clarkson could be a guy that they think about trading. Would be a great asset to a team that wants to win. 6th man of the year comes off the bench. Very solid. I think the Phoenix Suns.
What if now they send some of these picks up to Portland?
I don't feel like that would be something that they do right now, just because the team is not really like even close to being able to contend at the top of the West. Like if they,
no, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. I just don't think that would be something that they would do, but who knows? You never know in the NBA. All right, we'll do the NFL at the end since the season is beginning this week. We'll do that at the end. Let's go to golf real quick.
Yeah, you still next weekend you have the Fortinet Championship, defending championship Max Homa, and then you have the 2022 President's Cup.
Yeah, this is going to be on paper. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath. The Live Golf Tour has pretty much gutted the international team. They've taken a couple of stalwarts away from the U.S. as well, but the U.S. team has Scotty Scheffler, Patrick Cantlay, Xander Schauffele, Sam Burns, Justin Thomas, Tony Finau, and the captain's picks from Davis Love were Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa, Max Homa, Billy Horschel, Cameron Young, and Kevin Kisner. So they pretty much bypassed Tom Hoagie and JT Poston, who were ahead in the qualifying standings over Kisner. They take Kisner. He takes Kisner over those two. So
Yeah,
this team
you got to
is
go for the
still
match.
loaded.
You got to go for the match play guy.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying Kisner's so overrated, this and that. Well, guess what? They're basing this pick off of the idea that he could be really, really good in the team setting, and he's proven how good he's been at match play over the years. And also, I don't care about, and I know that they don't care about his individual stats over the last few months because he hasn't been great. But you bring him in for a reason. And look how many great individual players are already on this team.
It's not a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to make some money here because they're going to dominate. Like, this isn't even going to be close, I don't think. They already dominated Europe last year in the Ryder Cup, and they're facing a much worse team this year because you have Hideki Matsuyama and Sung J.M. Those are the two. They got to play well for them to have a chance. That's going to be what it was like for Rahm and Rory last year at the Ryder Cup, except Rory was bad, Rahm was great. They had nobody else. Tom Kim, who's been very good recently. Corey Connors is solid. Adam Scott, solid. Mito Pereira, who really, after the choke at the PGA, has been, whatever. Lee, I don't know why I didn't write down the first name because I don't remember Lee's first name, but there you go. Sebastian Munoz, Christian Bezadenhout, Cam Davis. I don't know this Cam either. And then Taylor Pendrith. So, yeah, it's not a very good team. It's going to be ugly, I think. I think it's going to be one of those things where you might just, after the first couple of days, you're like, yeah, this is done.
And this is Quail Hollow, which is where again?
I believe it's in North Carolina, one of the Carolinas. It's also, I think
was
it's
this where they just played a couple of weeks ago when Kisner only played one round and then left?
No, that was somewhere else. But Quail Hollow, I believe, is also the in Charlotte. It's the rotating course for the Wells Fargo as well. I believe Max Homa won at Quail Hollow a few years ago. His first PGA Tour win was there. So, yeah, it's going to be an ugly. I would think. I mean, on paper, everything's pointing to this is going to be a blowout. So we will see. I'm trying to see if I could find the players just so I don't miss anybody's name. Tom Kim.
I don't see the paper on which one it was. It was
Siwoo Kim and KH Lee are the ones that I missed, by the way. They're all solid players, but it's just they don't have the star power.
It was 8-3, so I don't know what.
That was the Wyndham from.
Yeah, so
I can't
that
remember
was
what golf course
that was where 8 players withdrew, whatever, and Kisner was one of them. But that was in North Carolina as well.
Yeah. So, all right, college hoops.
Yeah, the only thing there was Paige Beckers to bypass the early entry WNBA draft and return to UConn next year.
Yeah, not surprising. They lost the national championship last season, and I'm sure that she wanted to have another shot at that. Plus, with the way the WNBA is, it doesn't really matter.
Well, no, and with tearing their ACL, like, why leave? Because you're going to be rehabbing anyway.
Yeah, and I think she, like a lot of players that go there, have a tight relationship with Gino and want to return and play for him again. So this doesn't surprise me at all. I think it's a very good thing for the sport. And
you see a lot of the WNBA players go all 4 years to get their degree because how low paying the WNBA is and such.
Yeah.
So then she has a degree to fall back on.
Yeah, that is true. All right, Major League Baseball.
You had Braves pitcher Spencer Strider strikes out 16 batters through 8 innings on 2 hits versus the Rockies. He broke the record for the Braves for most strikeouts in a game, which was held by Schmaltz, which he had 15 strikeouts in 9 innings versus the Mets in April of 2005. I mean, the dude's having a stellar year under the radar.
Yeah, it makes me feel a lot better when the fact that the Cardinals have faced Strider twice and they have struck out a lot. So like 19 or 20 strikeouts in 2 games. So yeah, I mean, he's got really good strikeout stuff, obviously, with how many strikeouts he has. And the Braves have, like, I don't think a lot of people are talking about, well, they're talking about now because they've tied the division, but the Braves are, like, I want to say 61-24 since June 1st. They were 10.5 games behind the Mets on June 1st. They were 3 games under 500, and now they're tied. Well, they're half a game back when we record this. They're 85-51. The Mets are 86-51. we got a race. This is the only like real race in Major League Baseball for the divisions right now, because I believe the Yankees still have a decent lead, and then the AL Central is so boring. Who really cares? The Cardinals are 9 up.
Do you think Strider's got to be in contention for Cy Young?
I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I'm trying to find his stats.
He has 183 Ks. He's got a 2.69 ERA, 10-4. I don't think anybody's going to take the Cy Young away from Verlander in the AL. The NL is a bit of a different story. I still think Sandy Alcantara is the leader in the clubhouse, but I think you can make an argument for a few other guys. Julio Urias is having a very good season. So, I don't know.
He's 10-4 though, but he started through 18 games.
Yeah. We'll see. But, like I said, they're actually tied again because the Braves won today. So they're both 86 and 51. And then you have the Yankees are 4.5 up, and then the rest of the races are kind of large leads, except for the AL Central, which, like I said, nobody really cares about that. So Braves-Mets, big race coming up.
Yeah, so what are we looking right now, standing-wise, on everybody? Yankees are in.
So in the AL, you're going to have the Astros and the Yankees likely winning their divisions. And then in the AL Central, you have the
Guardians, Twins, White Sox.
I'm going to say that the Twins come out on top. I just have a feeling. And then in the wild card for the AL, you're going to have you're definitely going to have Tampa. I would definitely say you have Seattle as well. I'm going to say Toronto holds on, but Baltimore has a shot. And then in the NL, you're obviously going to have the Dodgers and the Cardinals winning their divisions. And then I'm going to say the Mets hold on, even though nobody thinks they are, but their schedule's just so easy. Plus, they have DeGrom against the Pirates tonight. And then the wild card, I'm going to say Braves and Phillies and Padres. I don't think anybody's going to move. Like, I don't think the Brewers get in. I don't think the Orioles get in. I don't think there's any real surprises with the wild card right now.
You don't think the Brewers can get past the Phillies?
No, I don't. What I see from the Brewers, especially after last night's embarrassment, plus I think they're losing today, I just don't think that team has it. So, yeah, player of the week.
Yeah, who do you got?
Aaron Judge, who is going to win MVP. Hit another homer today. I didn't take that into account with my pick here, but he's got 55 now. He batted .438 over the last week, 3 homers, 4 RBIs, 2 doubles, 1,675 OPS. So you could also add a home run to that if you wanted to, since he did hit one today.
Well, even when we do this, when I pick, do the last 7 days, I always try taking out the day, the game we record that game out.
Either way, very good stats for Judge.
I have Boston shortstop Xander Bogaerts, 13 for 28, 8 runs, 4 doubles, 1 home run, 8 RBIs, 3 walks.
Well, it's been a bad season for the Red Sox, but I think Bogaerts got an extension, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's batting, 13 out of 28. He's just under 500 there.
That's a lot of at-bats, too. I think Bogaerts signed an extension.
So like 480 or
somewhere around there. Yeah, Bogaerts got a 6-year, $120 million extension, and that'll run through 2026. So, yeah, pretty good.
6-year extension, but it runs through 2026.
It was signed a couple years ago, I guess. I thought that it was signed this year, but that's what people are saying. That's what the ballpark's going to be for Dansby Swanson, so I was kind of thinking that it was a recent extension. But, yeah, Bogaerts, good player. Nothing really going on in the NHL this week. Probably next week, maybe talk about the TV schedule with the national broadcasts. And then preseason will start soon, so we'll try to get into that next week in the NHL. But college football-wise, the top 25.
I was telling Ethan before we get into this, I don't understand how some of these teams have won, especially some that had top matchups and dropped.
Well, an example of that is number 3, but I'll read the top 5 here. Number 1, still Alabama. Number 2, Georgia moves up after just obliterating Oregon. Ohio State beats Notre Dame, drops to 3. Michigan goes up 4 spots after dominating Colorado State. Clemson, I believe they held on and won against Georgia Tech, right? I'm assuming they did. They only dropped 1 spot, but they dropped as well. So interesting.
Texas A&M stays put at 6. Oklahoma up 2-7. Notre Dame drops 3. Baylor up 1-9. USC up 4-10.
I still find Notre Dame to be incredibly overrated. Like,
I
they're
mean, they
not good.
always are. I mean, it was 2 versus 5. Ohio State beats them. So they still drop a spot, and Notre Dame only drops 3.
Cincinnati gets into the playoff last year. They go into Notre Dame and destroy them. Yet Notre Dame, at the end of the season, still has a shot to get into the playoff, despite not being in a conference. That's the problem that I have with it. You lose if you're Notre Dame and you get embarrassed at home. Now, Cincinnati was very, very good last season. But if you get embarrassed at home by anybody other than Georgia, Ohio State, or Alabama, you shouldn't even be thought about. You need to go undefeated against anybody else. So Notre Dame's overrated. That's just, it is what it is. Oklahoma State up 1-11. Florida goes from unranked. They beat Utah. They go to 12, which is hey, we can't have Utah ranked ahead of Florida. Florida just beat them. So they go from unranked to 12. Utah drops 6-13. Michigan State up 1-14. Miami up 1-15.
Which I did think that Utah was highly ranked to start the year.
They're used to being a more low-key, under-the-radar good team. So when they're starting off 7th, they're probably not used to that, and it's going to be trouble, especially starting off the season against a pretty good SEC team.
Yeah, and then Arkansas went up 3-16. Pittsburgh stays put at 17. NC State drops 5-18. Wisconsin wins but drops a spot to 19. Kentucky stays put at 20.
BYU up 4-21. Ole Miss drops 1-22. Wake Forest drops 1-23. Tennessee unranked to 24, and Houston drops 1-25.
Which I think all those teams that dropped there won as well.
A lot of movement going on. So,
and the only other NCAA news would be that they did open the college playoffs to 12 teams.
Yeah, I don't know when that starts. I can't remember when that starts.
I thought that started this year.
I don't think it starts this year. I don't think they would make that call for this season. It says 2026, but they could try to implement it as soon as 2024. So I'm going to say somewhere within the next 2 or 3 years, they'll get it done.
Yeah, I can't see them broadcasting it and making it wait 4 years.
Probably not. I think that they're urging the commissioners to expedite that. So we'll see if they do. The NFL is where we go now. The season begins tomorrow night in LA for the Rams and Bills. A couple news items before we get into predictions and picks and fantasy football and such. The Titans lost their top pass rusher, Harold Landry, to a torn ACL. He signed a 5-year, that's a $87.5 million deal in March, so pretty significant loss there to a team who's going to be battling one other team to win their division. Then you had Garoppolo. Did not expect to be returning to the 49ers this year, but, not surprising to the outside.
I saw sort of Trey Lance is mad about them bringing him back, asking if they don't respect him or anything. It's like, he's already signed with them. What do you want him to do, cut him?
Yeah, I don't think Trey Lance, if that's the true story, I don't think he's earned all that to be mad about that.
I mean, if you're that, they're not going to cut him because they want money back for him.
Jimmy G's not that great, but he's also been to 2 conference championships and a Super Bowl. So
yeah, he's got games under his belt. He's a game manager.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I mean, I have a feeling at some point in this year he's going to be back starting.
Could be. We'll see.
And then Russell Wilson gets a massive 5-year, $245 million extension, $165 million guaranteed. Now his contract gets for 7 years, $296 million.
Yeah, not surprising to me that he got that money.
No, John Elway says, "Welcome to Denver, sir."
Yeah, so
let's ride.
Let's miss the playoffs. Speaking of that, predictions. AFC, who do you have making the playoffs?
AFC East, I have the Bills. AFC North, I have the Bengals. AFC South, I have the Colts. AFC West, I have the Chiefs.
All right. My divisional winners are the Bills. I'm taking the Ravens. A lot of people are not doing that. I'm going to do it. And I have the Colts and the Chiefs. So 3 wild cards.
I just don't trust the Ravens receiving core.
That's fair, but
you have Mark Andrews and then Rashad Bateman, and then
there's going to be a lot of running the ball as well with different guys. And also, I'm kind of going for the against the grain, nobody else is making this pick play.
But J.K. Dobbins supposed to be healthy. Gus Edwards still out with his ACL. But my AFC wild cards were Titans, Chargers, and then my surprising pick was the Dolphins.
I was tempted to put the Dolphins in there. I'm going to go Patriots, Bengals, and Chargers. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm going for that. We'll see.
So the only team we have different is Dolphins, Ravens.
Yeah.
In the AFC.
Yep. All right, NFC.
NFC East, I have the Eagles. North, I have the Packers. South, I have the Bucks. West, I have the Rams.
I am going Cowboys, Packers, Bucks, Rams.
Last week you were just saying Eagles should run away with that division.
I didn't want to do what everybody else was doing. So, and I feel like the Cowboys are still going to choke in the playoffs, by the way.
Oh, last week did we discuss the we discussed the Rieger trade?
Yeah, last week I think I said I think what I said was I didn't know if I was going to go along with everybody picking the Eagles to win the division, and then I gave a little teaser, said stay tuned. But I did talk about how good the roster was.
But my wild card picks in NFC are Vikings, Cardinals, Saints.
I'm going Vikings, Cardinals, Eagles. So
I just the Saints, they have too many options. Like, I mean, you have Mike Thomas, Olave, Jarvis Landry, and then you have Kamara and Mark Ingram.
Yeah, I don't trust the quarterback play just because I don't know how healthy Winston will be when he comes back. And I don't think
that's only a question mark, but they just have so many options.
That's true.
And
it was kind of a toss-up for Saints and Eagles.
They have another young receiver too, right? Or second-year guy from Ohio State or something?
I don't remember. I don't know.
I mean, if Michael Thomas is back healthy and then you have Chris Olave in there, he's got options to throw the ball to.
Yep. All right, Super Bowl.
I have 2 different matchups.
Okay.
Either it's going to be the Bills-Bucks or the Chiefs-Packers.
Yeah, I could see that being the case.
I mean, that could be the finals, division finals, or conference finals.
Chiefs, Bills, Bucks, Packers.
Yeah.
Which was last year was Chiefs, Bills, that was the second round. Who did the Chiefs beat in 2020 to get to the Super Bowl? They beat the Bills? I think they beat the Bills. I think that was the 2020 matchups for that, I believe. So I could see it. I have Rams-Bills, so I have tomorrow night's matchup. And my conference championships that I wrote down were Bills, Chargers, Rams, Packers. Packers, traditional choking in the NFC Championship. And then the Chargers, I think, get a little bit further than people think. I think they beat the Chiefs in the second round and then lose to the Bills. So I got Bills, Rams, and I have the Bills winning. Final score to be exact, 38-31, and Josh Allen, Super Bowl MVP. I think I had the Bills winning last year too, by the way. So just to throw that out there. Who do you have winning?
I mean, my heart would say out of the Bills-Bucks, the Bucks.
Be a good matchup.
And then the other would probably be the Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs are kind of being slept on, to be honest. I know they're good, and I know that people are going to say, what did they do to improve? They weren't that good last season. They lost early. They choked.
Yeah, I mean, they lost Tyreek, but they bring in Sky Moore and Juju.
MVS.
Yeah.
And great teams rebound from stuff like this.
Because they lost Sammy Watkins as well.
So, yeah, there you go. All right, let's I guess fantasy football. Got that real
Yeah.
quick here.
What was your team? And you had how many teams?
Mine was a 12-team league. I had
Is it
the
PPR or
yeah,
non?
yeah, it is. I had the third pick, I believe. So with that third pick, I took Derrick Henry. No, I had the second pick. I took Derrick Henry.
Bold strategy, Cotton.
Well, I didn't want to take McCaffrey because I don't trust him. Jonathan Taylor was who I would have loved, but he was the first pick, obviously. So I went with that. The rest of my team, I have my quarterback room is Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins. My running back room consists of Derrick Henry, Javonte Williams, Cordero Patterson, Kenneth Gainwell, Damian Harris, and Alexander Madison. My wide receiver room consists of Mike Evans, Adam Thielen, Chase Claypool, Jarvis Landry, Nico Collins. Tight ends, I have Zach Ertz and Dawson Knox. Kicker is Younghoe Koo. And my defenses are the Saints and Ravens, who will be interchanged throughout every week to suit the better matchup.
Yeah, I had a 12-man PPR. I had the 9th pick. I took Kamara, Chubb, Darren Waller, Scary Terry McLaurin, Can't Guard Mike, Michael Thomas, Patrick Mahomes, Hunter Renfrow, Damian Harris, Russell Gage, Matt Gay is my kicker. I took the Rams defense, then Robert Tonyan, Brian Robinson, Jameson Williams, and Rashad White as my last pick. So 2 guys who aren't playing for 4 weeks, and Williams and Robinson. But, I mean, I have 5 receivers and 5 running backs.
I was really hoping to get Kamara, but with the second pick, I didn't think that would have been a good idea. He ended up going 14th in our league. So I really wanted to get him, but I feel like if I had like the 8th or the 9th, I probably would have pulled the trigger. But yeah, Kamara is somebody that I always like in fantasy.
The guy after me took Joe Mixon right after I took Kamara. So I had the option of either one of them. But I was like, PPR, Kamara gets more catches.
A couple other notes. We had Austin Eckler go 3rd overall in our league. So that was interesting. Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs is the order of receivers that went in the top 5.
My draft, Cooper Kupp was a 2nd overall pick.
Yeah, that was not something that I would have done with the second.
And then McCaffrey, Jefferson. Eckler was the 3rd running back. And then Derrick Henry fell all the way to the 6th pick. Then Jamar Chase, Dalvin Cook, Kamara, Mixon. And then Travis Kelce was picked in the 1st round as well. So was Stephon Diggs.
We had Kelce go in the 2nd round. Mark Andrews went in the 3rd. Kyle Pitts went in the 3rd. First quarterback off the board was Josh Allen. Then I took Herbert with 2nd quarterback. And then Mahomes. And then, let's see, Burrow.
But the guy who drafted 12th, new to the league, new to fantasy football, at first picked Emmanuel Sanders as his first pick.
Okay.
We as a group decided we couldn't let him do that, so we let him pick that one.
That had to be a joke, right? I mean, what?
And as of today, Emmanuel Sanders retired.
Yeah, so that's kind of odd.
Someone did end up drafting him later in the draft.
Do you know who the last pick was?
Naheem Hines.
So our last pick was Devin Duvernay.
Okay.
So there you go. Will Fuller also got drafted 2nd to last, which is he even going to play this year? I don't know. So there you go. Interesting year of fantasy football. Maybe we'll do updates throughout the week on matchups.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
I went 5 and 8 last week in picks.
I went 7 and 6. Finally got back a little bit. Was going 1 and 4, 0 and 5 in baseball for a while. Went 3 and 2, 4 and 4 in college football.
So I went 3 and 2 in baseball, and then I went 2 and 6 in college football. Which, I mean, the New Mexico State plus 35.5 to Minnesota, they lost 38-0. So almost covered that one.
Tough break. That's a tough break.
The Utah-Florida game, Florida won by 3. I had LSU -3. They got the field goal blocked.
Yeah, that was an insane game.
They also muffed 2 punts and left Florida State in the red zone. I did have Oregon +17 and Ohio State -17. So I won on Arkansas and
Ohio State. Ohio State's also who I picked. They were so close to covering. Just one more touchdown and you cover. But
they would have pushed.
Well, that would have been.
Or no, that would have been 18.
18, yeah. So, all right, let's do it. We'll start with the MLB, tomorrow's games. Who do you got?
We got 21 picks this week.
And I believe there's only 5 baseball games, so we have to pick them all.
Yeah. Well, I think there were 6, and then there was a doubleheader, so there was really 7, but
I picked 5 games, very specific. Boom.
I got the Cubs -155 over the Reds, Marlins +110 over Philly. Sandy's pitching.
Yep.
Brewers -215 over the Giants, which is the first game of the doubleheader. Corbin Burns is pitching. Cardinals -285 over the Nats, and the White Sox -190 over the A's.
We have
Cease is also pitching in that.
4 of the 5 same picks, except I'm taking a flyer on the Reds +135 against the Cubs. So 4 of the 5 are the same: Cardinals, Brewers, Marlins, White Sox. So there you go. College football, week 2, Power 5 conference games, the ACC.
First of all, how are we not going to this game?
What game?
I'm taking Virginia +4.5 at Illinois.
I think Illinois is going to win. I just, telling you, last week was bad. They're going to rebound. But
I'm just saying, this is a good game. We should see if we can get tickets.
I think I'm busy on Saturday, but what can you do? North Carolina -7.5 at Georgia State. North Carolina allowed 40 points last week against App State in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
won the game 63-61.
Looked at that. Wasn't touching North Carolina.
I'm going to touch them. I'm going to say that they rebound from that defensive performance last week. Big 10.
12.
Big 12.
I got Houston +3 over Texas Tech. I don't know how the ranked team is the underdog, but I'm taking Houston +3 over Texas Tech.
I'm taking Oklahoma State -11 against Arizona State. Why not? Big 10.
Just because of how Iowa played last week, I'm taking Iowa State +3.5.
I am just going to take the comically stupid one because Ohio State's offense was not good last week. They're going to put up a lot of points this week. So I think it's almost a gimme -44. I know it's a huge spread, but come on. They're going to score at least like 56 points. They're not going to allow very many either. So I think Ohio State beats Arkansas State by like 50 plus. But anyway, probably still risky. Let's do Pac-12.
I got USC -9 over Stanford.
Taking Arizona +10.5 against Mississippi State. Arizona a little bit better than they've been the last few years. Why not? Keep it close. SEC.
I got Arkansas -8 over South Carolina.
I don't think Texas is good. Like I don't like they got to show me that they're good. So I'm going to take Alabama -20 against Texas. Alabama is so much better. So
who's their starting quarterback? Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, and he hasn't really played. So
I think that's car towed.
And he just entered that program this year because he was at Ohio State. So there you go. We'll see.
Yeah, but then literally got his car towed during the game.
It's not ideal. 3 primetime picks.
We got number 24, Tennessee at 17, Pitt. I'm taking Tennessee -6.5.
Yeah, give me Tennessee as well.
Then number 20, Kentucky versus at number 12, Florida. I'm taking Florida -6.
Give me Kentucky +6.
And then number 9, Baylor at number 21, BYU. I'm taking Baylor +3. Once again, the number 9 seed in the nation is the underdog.
That confused me as well. That's why I'm taking Baylor +3. All right, NFL Week 1, Thursday night.
You got Bills at Rams. Bills are a 2-point favorite.
Taking the Bills. I think they're better.
Yeah, I am also taking the Bills, which is
Super Bowl
why
hangover.
I put Jameson Williams on my reserve and picked up. I believe I picked up the Titans defense. Yes, because they are playing the Giants.
There you go. Sunday picks, 5 picks. Who you got?
I got the Colts -7 over the Texans, the Bengals -6.5 over the Steelers, the Saints -5.5 over the Falcons, which I'm surprised the spread is that low. Eagles -4 over the Lions, and the Titans -5.5 over the Giants.
All right, I will take the Bears +7 against the Niners, the Bengals -6.5 against the Steelers, Panthers -1.5 against the Browns, Eagles -4 against the Lions, Chargers -3.5 against the Raiders.
Yeah, I didn't want to touch that Browns game.
Yeah, I didn't really love doing that, but I think the Browns are going to be bad, so why not? Sunday Night Football, Bucks at Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bucks -2.5.
I have a sneaky feeling that the Cowboys are going to surprise people and win this game. That said, I'm still going to take the Bucks -2.5.
Well, I think they're without CeeDee Lamb and Gallup.
Either way, it's one of those things where it's one of those weird primetime games already. Like, for example, when the Cowboys went into Minnesota last year with Cooper Rush and beat the Vikings. One of those weird Sunday night games where you're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah,
So I have a
the
feeling it could
Vikings,
be one
the
of those.
Vikings always have that inconsistent defense where one week they look like outstanding,
Yeah.
the next week they look like complete dog shit.
Well, almost every single Vikings game is the same. They have a lead, they blow it, they either barely win or barely lose. So that's why I'm worried about people being so high on them this year. I do have them making the postseason and getting the divisional round, but still got to be worried about them a little bit. Monday night, which this game is already going to be so overrated. Like, I don't think either of these teams is that good. One team is way better than the other, but Broncos at Seahawks, big Russell Wilson going back, NFL ratings type stuff. So who you got?
The Broncos -6.5.
Yeah, that's an easy pick. The Seahawks are terrible. So.
Geno Smith can't throw the ball more than 15 yards.
And all because of ratings, they're putting Geno Smith on a week 1 Monday night football game because of ratings. So great job, NFL. Beautiful. Hope your ratings are as good as you hope. And there you go. So that'll do it for us. But we'll have a lot to discuss next week.
My picks now, I'm 480 and 365.
I am 455 and 367. No comment from me on that. So we'll see you next week. 77 next week. We'll discuss the NFL season, week 1. We'll discuss week 2 of college football, other news items, and more. And we'll see you next week.
Deuces.